Am I the a-hole for not changing my name back to what it was? So, I joined the army straight out of high school against the wishes of my parents. Basically, they thought I was just having a semester off after high school before going to college. And since I have a late birthday, late August, I waited until I was 18 so I could do it without them knowing. The day before I shipped out for basic, I sat them down and told them I was leaving for a little while and that I'd joined the Army Reserve. My parents always hated the idea of me going and always berated me when I brought it up. I left for basic, and after I finished basic, during my 30-day leave, I called home and asked them if I could stay with them. I knew they were probably still mad, but I didn't expect them to say, "I don't have a son," and hung up. Fast forward 3 years, I'm in college, live in a big city, and have a lovely girlfriend who I live with. My parents came to visit me, and they profusely apologized and wanted to be in my life, and I foolishly accepted. I had changed my name after AIT. For those not in the military, basically you choose a certain job, and after basic training, you have to report for job training. So if you're an infantryman, you'd go to infantry school. I changed my name because I wanted to leave my parents in the past, since they obviously didn't love me like they said they did. A few weeks had gone by, and they would always call me by my old name and not my new one. When I corrected them, they always shrugged it off. Finally, they sat me down and asked me if I would change my name back. They felt I owed it to them since they raised me and yada yada. I told them they were the ones who left me in the dust, and that I'm proud of my new name. Can't really explain it, but I feel like my new name is just to better me, and that I have worked hard for it. They called me selfish, and said if I really forgive them, I have to show it. And I told them I don't owe them jack and told them to get out. Haven't spoken since. My girlfriend thinks I'm being a bit excessive. Am I? Edit. I feel like I may be the a-hole because I kicked them out of my house for something small, as my girlfriend put it. I don't think I was being unreasonable, but my girlfriend does. Absolutely not the a-hole. Sorry, but this is a bit of a silly one. They don't like your life choices, so they dump you. You leave your past behind and move on. They ask for forgiveness, which you do, but then demand you return to your past self? They're the ones who are selfish. They're the ones who are unreasonable. If they were truly sorry and wanted to move on, they would understand you. I guess, but is it really worth my relationship with them? I love them to death despite what they think of me, and I do want them in my life. Then that is something you have to work on with them. It doesn't mean you have to give in to demands. Relationships are a two-way thing. You all need to work on rebuilding this. As much as you love them and want them in your life, you should realize that yes, they're your parents, but they also did a really horrible thing to you that doesn't deserve dropping and rolling over, just because they gave birth to you. Sometimes parents are kind of horrible people. It's up to you how much you're willing to put up with it. Is it really worth my relationship with them? This is the question you need to answer yourself. It may be the same question but reversed. Is having a relationship with them worth having to deal with them in such situations? Not the a-hole. Forgiveness never needs to be proven. When people make and then act on a decision, they are, at that moment, accept any and all consequences for that decision. In other words, they made this bed. Now they have to sleep in it. And I'm so curious. Why were they so against you joining the reserves? In my opinion, joining the military is an honorable choice, and a smart one. Especially if you want to go to college, as they'll pay for it. Do you plan on going active duty and going to OCS, Officer Candidate School, after you get your degree? This isn't about the name. They want to go back to how things were. You with your old name and in your old dependent position. And let's all forget about the part where they disowned their teenage son for a career choice. You can forgive, but you have no obligation to forget. Still has to let them move back into that position. You're absolutely not an a-hole to say. If they want a relationship, it has to be on new terms, where they accept you are an adult and don't berate you for your life decisions, starting with your name. Not the a-hole. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I have no siblings when I have a half-sister? I'm 23 female, was born about 2 months after my mom found out my biological father had gotten another woman pregnant. My half-sister, Lucy, was born 3 months after me, and that crap was tough. Kids would ask questions and tease me about it. Teachers would make a huge deal out of it, and would then say she was my best friend and make us sit together every class and do school projects together, up until we were 10. My biological father never cared. He would always dismiss that it was hard. He would tell me a sister was a better gift than being popular anyway and stuff like that, and that I should be proud to have such a cool family. He never truly got over my mom, and he wanted to get back with her, but he also hoped if they got back together, she would take Lucy on too. This was despite him actually marrying Lucy's mom. When it didn't work, he did his best to make us a united family. He would even make us celebrate our birthday between hers and mine. So I always had my birthday acknowledged at his house way late while she got an early birthday. And parties there had to be shared, and even though I didn't want to celebrate, he and Lucy's mom would force me to. But I hated it so much. I knew what he had done. I knew it was messed up and it never went away. One time, I told him he needed to apologize to my mom in front of everyone, so they wouldn't say horrible things about her anymore. I was 12 at the time, and he told me not to be silly, and it was in the past. I ended up choosing not to see him anymore when I was 16, and I haven't seen him since. Lucy tried to keep in touch, but it always made me so uncomfortable being around her. She was shoved down my throat so much, and I was teased about her in our situation, and I never ever developed a relationship with her. Maybe I did when we were kids, but I can honestly say as an adult, I do not miss her in my life, and I told her I wasn't interested in a relationship. I don't tell new people I meet about her. I've always said I have no siblings. A few people close to me get told eventually, but only because I don't like to continue to hide something like that from the people I care about. Anyway, she recently started working with some friends of friends, and we ran into each other through them, which she then brought up the fact we're half siblings, and one of the friends of friends said I always said I had none. It was weird. And after, she got my number from someone and sent me some messages saying I was an a-hole. And it was an a-hole move to not acknowledge her existence when she did nothing wrong. And then we saw each other again. And she told me to my face that everything I was doing was way worse than anything her parents could have done. And that I should grow the hell up and learn to love her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your half-sister is not at fault for being born. But she can't demand to be loved by you. Love doesn't work like that. Your dad and stepmom are really messed up. They prevented you and Lucy having a normal relationship because they forced you to play happy family. While I agree with you 100%, I think it's pretty sad that Opie's sister probably has developed that kind of love for her. Since birth, she was told over and over how they are sisters and how they should love and care for each other. And that's probably something she got to develop for Opie. And being avoided like that must hurt her a lot. Not a-hole. But while I understand why you don't have any want in a relationship with her, I hope you understand that she is 100% not at fault for what happened. Your dad is. I can understand being upset at your father, but taking it out on her by choosing to not say you have no siblings is hard. I'd suggest saying you have a half-sister, but that you don't really have a relationship with her. I get that. I just can't deal with a relationship with her. She reminds me every time that my father decided to mess up my family and that things was harder over the years. And she will never truly get it because her core family, her parents, were together and are still together. While I had to go through the chaos of divorced parents and blended families and the messed up things people would say to me as a kid. It's not her fault, but I don't think it would be possible for me to ever truly want her in my life. No a-holes here. No a-holes here except your dad and that teacher. You and Lucy are both just victims of circumstance. It must have been hard for both of you growing up. Your experiences and personalities are different. That means the two of you have reacted differently and have different coping strategies. You prefer not to have her in your life, or have to explain all the weirdness about having a sibling when you don't see her as a sister. She wants to have you in her life and seeks love from you because, for whatever reason, she does see you as a sister. Those two are not compatible, unfortunately. Both of you have had understandable human reactions, and I don't think you should be too hard on yourself or on Lucy for that. Of course, she feels hurt that the sister she always wanted pretends she doesn't exist. Of course, you feel awkward and threatened when the stranger you never wanted tries to get close and act like your sisters. There's no easy out to any of this. You don't owe her anything, and you must be true to yourself. But try to view her and yourself with compassion. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I don't want to care for his 2 children so he can see his other child? My husband 42 and I 26 female have been married for 4 years, together for 6. I am an immigrant. I came in the US with a K1 visa to marry him and never left, of course. He has 3 children, 13 male, 11 male, 9 female, from a previous marriage. My relationship with his children was always good. He's really involved in their lives and I respect that. On the other hand, my relationship with the rest of his family is bad. No one agreed with our marriage. They tried their hardest to separate us. Our age gap and the fact I'm 4 don't sit well with them, and they don't want to believe I really love my husband. Well, all their efforts pay off, as my husband's oldest son doesn't want to see me anymore, for absolutely no reason. We had a good relationship before and I don't parent any of them, but out of nowhere doesn't want to visit if I'm here. Of course, my husband is hurt by this situation. I get that. Fast forward, he decided he would see his oldest at my parents-in-law. I wasn't thrilled about it, as I know they will talk crap about me, but at least he could see his son. When he visits his oldest, I have to care for his 2 other children because he has weekends custody and they don't want to go to their grandparents' house. Understandably so. I didn't mind at first. It was just an afternoon every 2 weeks. But last weekend, he stayed a full weekend at his parents' house with his oldest. Not only his 2 other children didn't see their dad all weekend long, but he called them for like 10 minutes total, and of course they were sad. When I confronted him about it, telling him it was clearly favoritism and it wasn't fair on the other 2, he denied and said they needed to spend more time together. He then told me to not start a drama about it. I was really calm, so I didn't understand why he was saying that, but then we cut it short and moved on. But come yesterday, he says that he plans on spending a weekend a month at his parents' house, as well as spending an afternoon every other weekends. Okay, fine, but don't expect me to be a nanny all weekend long, I said. And he was like, seriously? You're my wife. You should help me. As a husband, you should try to fix the situation so we can all be home together, I said. Now, I'm well aware that as a wife and a stepmother, I should be willing to care for his children. And I'm willing to, but not for a full weekend. I don't mind taking care of them for a day, but these kids also need their father too. He was mad and called me selfish. I understand that he wants to spend time with his oldest, and I'm all for it. But I don't think he needs to spend a night there. If his oldest get all the father and son time in the world, he will never want the situation to improve and the other 2 will suffer from it as well. Now for the top comments. As his wife and stepmother, you should be willing to be a team and partner in parenting. And it clearly sounds like you are being a partner and he is not. You are far more mature than your husband. His neglected kids will see the favoritism. It's obvious. Not at a-hole, and please, think long and hard before you have any children of your own with him. I'm glad you see the favoritism, and that I don't make things up. Good thing I don't want children of my own. Most likely when he visits his son, your husband gets to sit on a couch and not parent nor do chores around the house. Basically, he gets a pass for being a parent. He is an a-hole for letting a 13-year-old rule the family. So, he has 3 other kids, but ditches 2 of them with you and spend his time with his eldest alone? When he should be with all 3. Yeah, you're not an a-hole here. Sure, there's some level of responsibility to help co-parent your stepchildren. That's what you signed up for when you married into a family with kids. But he should absolutely be there with all his kids, not just the eldest. If there's tension, he needs to be resolving it, not avoiding it by showing favoritism and leaving you to pick up the pieces. Not an a-hole. This situation is not okay. Either he takes all the kids with him to his parents' house for every visit, or his 2 youngest stay with their mother while he visits his oldest. You are not a live-in nanny, and this is not something you signed up for. Now for the last story. I'm not a-hole for planning for my daughter to be the only kid to have a private bathroom in the house we're going to build. My husband, 41, and I, 37, have wanted a new house for quite some time. After much discussion and realization that none of the homes we looked at fit our tastes, we decided to take on the project of having our home custom built. We are a blended family. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. Meanwhile, my husband also has a 14-year-old daughter, as well as a 15-year-old daughter. In the house we're currently living in, my husband and I's bedroom is downstairs and has an ensuite bathroom. The kids' rooms are upstairs, but there's only one bathroom on that floor. My 14-year-old daughter is very diligent about her appearance. She has a lot of followers in social media. People at school always say how good she looks. And she books acting and modeling jobs occasionally, so she always wants to leave the house looking good. She has been very much into the YouTube and Instagram product craze, so she has a very complicated multi-step routine to getting ready. She gets up about an hour early to get ready for the day, but regardless, the bathroom arguments have become intense. Every day her stepsisters complain that they have to brush their teeth in either the master bathroom or other downstairs bathroom with no shower so they are not late. They complain that her products are all over the place, and that there are napkins, stains, whatever else, or that her hairspray smells too strong. My daughter's last name rhymes with Vane, so now her brother and step-siblings call her last name Devane when they argue. My daughter gets upset and is very uncompromising when I suggested shortening her routine. The bathroom situation was priority number 1 yesterday when my husband and I discussed the blueprints of the house. After a lot of suggestions about various possibilities, I asked my husband why not just give my daughter's room an ensuite bathroom. The other 3 kids have no problem coexisting, so they can have the hallway bathroom and be done with it. It seemed to be the cleaner setup, and my stepdaughters didn't have to complain about the multi-angled and full-length mirror, which was what my daughter wanted for our current house. We told the kids about our decision, and my daughter said, "Yay!" But the other 3 kids were in uproar. My son asked why blank Devane is getting rewarded for being vain. And my stepdaughter said that if my daughter didn't have to deal with my son's occasional grossness, or sharing and waiting for that matter, they shouldn't either. My husband said he's willing to discuss, but doesn't care as long as these arguing stops. But I told them that this was the best decision specification-wise. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You're literally rewarding someone for not cleaning up after themselves, and refusing to compromise with their siblings, and forcing 3 people to have to share because one can't deal. Your favoritism is showing through, and your other 3 children don't deserve this. You're the a-hole. Get your daughter a vanity for a room. She doesn't need to be in the actual bathroom for all steps of getting herself ready. Surely you can see how this might upset the other kids in the house. I had a vanity since high school, and it kept my sister and I from fighting over the bathroom. Lol. OP or the a-hole. This is such an easy solution. Apparently, she already has one. She just has several products that she uses in the shower that she has to leave on for a certain amount of time, and demands to monopolize the bathroom all morning every day to do so. I don't think my eyes can roll any further back.
Would I be the a-hole if I complain about my coworker who messaged my husband? Plus updates. Original post. Yesterday, we had year-end inventory day at my new job I started 3 months ago. I, 35 female, was asked to bring a friend as my partner to help. We all brought our husbands and wives, a few children with their boyfriends, etc. I brought my husband, 36 male. My one co-worker, 34 female, did not bring anyone. She just helped each group of partners throughout the day. Everything was great. We had a wonderful day, and inventory was nearly perfect, so we got praised. Anyways, the next morning I get to work at 8 a.m., and 4 minutes into my day, my co-worker who did not bring anyone asked if my husband has a brother that's single and specifically looks exactly like him. I said no, he only has a sister. She said, "Oh, that's a shame. So he doesn't have a brother?" Me again. "No, why? Do you have a crush on my husband?" She literally laughed like a little schoolgirl. Let me start by saying I am far from jealous. I know my husband is attractive. I know I am too. I know my husband is successful. I know I am too. I know my husband is hilarious, kind, makes everyone feel heard and important. That's the exact reason I married him. I thought it was cute she liked him. This did not upset me. She then went on to talk about him almost any chance she could for the entirety of the day. And again, this did not upset me at all. He's most likely not coming back here, at least until the next year-end inventory day. She's having a crush. It'll pass by next week. What did upset me, when I got home at 4:30 p.m., he showed me that at 1:24 p.m., she texted him, and I quote, "Hey OP's husband," spells his name wrong. "How are you today? Your lady's really bothering me." So this woman went into our system, found my husband's phone number, and deemed it okay to text him in this manner. Of course he did not respond. Of course, he thought it was absolutely insane. And now I'm getting ready for work today, and I will see her in the next hour and a half after her doing this, and I'm not sure how I should or will react. Like I said, I am very far from jealous. I understand crushes and feelings and emotions, etc. But someone going to this level to contact my husband turns me into a grizzly bear. Would I be the a-hole if I told HR she did this? We work for a very large billion-dollar company that takes these things very seriously. She'd essentially lose her job. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. What's your goal? To get her fired or correct her behavior? How would she have access to employee files? Does she work in HR? She crossed a professional line. You could report her or just simply ask her why she felt it was appropriate to look up your personnel information and text your husband. She clearly violated company policy. Do whatever you feel is appropriate. You would not be the a-hole. That is my issue. I know they will fire her and I don't otherwise dislike her. Do I ignore this or address it as an issue? You're missing the point. This is much bigger than you and your husband. What she did is wildly inappropriate. She has access to people's personal information and clearly has no problem mishandling it. She has low impulse control. She's unethical, and that type of person will use information against you and others to get what she wants. If she feels rejected, how far will she go? Will she tell HR you or your husband said or did something? Will she show up at his work? Your house? She met a married man for a few hours and decided it would be appropriate to start a relationship with him. And her first move was to use access to personal info and attack you? Don't play with people like this. Go to HR so you control the narrative. She seems unstable and needs to go. You're right. Not the a-hole. Go ahead with HR. This will probably get worse in the future for you or another colleague. Also, we like drama here, so please update us. Not the a-hole. Go to HR. Don't feel guilty if she loses her job. It's because of her actions, not yours. Also, I second the notion for an update. Drama is all we're here for. Now for the updates. Firstly, just clarifying. My husband and all the helpers were paid well for their work. The children were 24 plus. We needed 10 extra people for one day. It wasn't slave work. We had a great day, and it was nice introducing my husband to everyone and meeting others' wives. We're going through a very large merger at work, and today was very busy. Our head managerial team was not in. I did tell my assistant manager what had happened, showed him the photo of the text message, and explained that I was very upset with my coworker. He was flabbergasted, and tomorrow we will sit down and tell our general manager what happened. He asked me what my resolution would look like, but we both agreed that once the GM knows, it's not exactly up to me anyway because of the breach in privacy. I do feel terrible, but she really shot herself in the foot. I've done nothing but be very nice to her. Even the "your lady is bothering me" wasn't warranted because I wasn't even bothering her. Second update 2 weeks later. Hey everyone, since almost every comment was on the exact same page, I really do appreciate everyone's input. With that said, there was an overwhelming appreciation for the need for my privacy, so I'd like to provide that to my coworker as well. She was indeed fired from her position this week, but that's all the information I will provide in respect to her privacy. If she ever sees this, I honestly hope the best for her, and all I have to say is, just make smarter choices in the future. Thank you everyone. Calling his wife bothering while texting him off the system. She really thought she's main character or something. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is TikTok behavior. Yep, she acted like it was all fun and games, until it wasn't. As a woman, it always amazes me how low some women will stoop, especially for a taken man. Coworker sounds unhinged, so I am glad it was resolved for OP. I've had women flirt with my husband, and one even asked for his number right in front of me, while on a date with a guy of her own. We were out at a bar with games and such and randomly started talking. We're both lucky that I think it's funny instead of getting mad and jealous LOL. I mean, I married the man. I get it. I would love to know where people purchase all this audacity. Baffling the way some people carry on. Next story. Am I the a-hole I took my PS5 back from my ungrateful nephew? So my nephew is 14 years old and his PS5 recently broke. My sister couldn't afford to buy him a new one, and I had my old PS5 in my closet, so I gave it to him. He was overjoyed and had been using it for about a week. I was chilling at my sister's house when she was telling him to get off his games and finish his chores before starting another match. At first, he ignored her, and then when she stood in the way, he mumbled something like, "Not doing that shit." Oh, I got mad. I went right into his setup, ripped my PS5 out of his TV, and put it in my car. He started screaming and crying, begging me to give it back, but also calling me a bitch at the same time. I told him if he was going to be an ungrateful little turd, he wasn't going to do it while gaming on my PS5. My sister got mad at me for swearing at him. So I said to her, if that's what she was worried about in this situation, she needs to rethink her priorities as a mother. So yeah, now I'm a big a-hole for swearing at her kid and calling her a bad mom. Am I the a-hole really though? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She got mad at you? That's insane. You're right, her priorities are out of order. Don't give it back to him. Exactly. Actions have consequences, and respecting the people who go out of their way to help should be a baseline expectation. If the reaction is more outrage over language than over blatant disrespect, that says a lot about where accountability is being placed. Not giving it back is the right call. Your old PS5 in your closet. I'll come do some chores for it. I'll take this offer. It ain't going back to him. Well, I don't know about that. You did right, but you should at least give him a chance to make it up and earn it back somehow. You gave it to him and he acted like a spoiled brat. It'd be a good lesson for him to make up for his mistakes. Your call, though. Now for the update. Holy crap, thanks for so many responses. I actually showed this to my sister when it took off, and we've been screenshotting and laughing at some comments. I'm actually a woman, but being called Uncle Larry tickled me to no end. I apologized to her for butting in so quickly. The comments showed me that I should have taken her aside and asked her if taking away the PS5 as a united front would have been better. She told me she was actually grateful the PS5 was gone. She said that my nephew has some new behaviors and friends he didn't have before, and they've been concerned about his video game use for a minute. She wants my nephew to come over and apologize to me, but I am not to give him back the PlayStation 5 if he asks. Thanks for the interest and the laughs, guys. Really appreciate you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for literally pretending my old best friend didn't exist when she tried to say hi to me after ghosting me years ago? This happened about a week ago, and I'm still turning it over in my head, so I figured I'd ask here. A few years ago, one of my closest friends, let's call her Rachel, completely disappeared on me. We'd been best friends for 7 years. One day, she told me she didn't have enough money to go clothes shopping with me. I said it was fine, and that we could just hang out together before we started our new jobs. I asked if she wanted to come around to my house, or if she wanted me to come to hers. She never replied. The day we were supposed to hang out came and went. And then I saw afterwards that she had been out drinking with other friends. So she obviously had money to spend, just not with me. I stopped trying after I saw that. It took me a long time to accept it, and it hurt in a way I still don't think I've fully processed. Although I have friends, I haven't let myself get that close to anyone again. That was 4 years ago. Fast forward to a few days ago, I saw Rachel, ironically, when I was out shopping with other friends. She waved at me and smiled like nothing had ever happened, like we were old mates bumping into each other, not someone I genuinely loved as a friend. My other friends said hello, being polite and all. They knew her from high school too, but I didn't move any closer to her or say anything. I literally pretended she wasn't there. I talked over her asking what we had all been up to these years, said I was hungry, and that we should go get pho before the wait time got too long. Then I looked right through her and walked past without saying a word. Now here's where I'm wondering if I was the a-hole. A few friends said later I was too cold to her, and that what I did was overly dramatic. It was years ago, that maybe she had her reasons for ghosting, and I should be the bigger person. But honestly, I don't think I owe someone grace when they couldn't even give me a goodbye to a 7-year friendship. Am I the a-hole for being petty and pretending she didn't exist? Not the a-hole. I had a friend like this. I helped her open her business. I lost money giving them my time. I helped them move twice. I took care of their dog when they went on vacations. I hosted their birthday parties. I spent thousands on them when they couldn't afford their rent. I helped her shop for baby clothes and set up her nursery. I said no one time, just once, when they asked me for more free work and they cut me out. Never told me why. I asked, I messaged, I called. Just stop talking to me. It's been 5 years. I'm not over it. It made me trust people a lot less. She still likes my Instagram stories once a year or so. I imagine they're hoping I'll reach out. Our mutuals know I want nothing to do with them. I wouldn't have done what you did, but I sure as heck wouldn't pretend to be their friend anymore. I'd probably just answer like they were a coworker I don't like and leave when the opportunity presented itself. That's awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you. She completely used you for your kindness and generosity. I'm not surprised you don't want to be close to anyone after that. Your incident actually reminded me, after Rachel ghosted me, she liked a post I made about my grandmother who had passed away. That was the only post she ever liked on my Instagram since she ghosted me. It felt weird and messed up that she did that. Not the a-hole in any way. My wife had a friend like this that just ghosted her out of nowhere. No precipitating event, just like you. Around 5 years later, she reached out via email and apologized profusely. Went into detail that it was her being in a bad place and being ashamed of herself. This not being an email to ask for forgiveness, but to merely let my wife know that it was nothing to do with anything about her, but was entirely this ex-friend's fault. My wife ended up meeting with her, and for the past decade they have been friends again. She's one of my wife's best friends. That's the level of contrition necessary to have a chance of being worthy of forgiveness in this sort of situation. This person displayed none of that. It's okay to need time for yourself when you're in a bad place, but communication is key. Your wife's friend at least had the decency to send her an email apologizing and explaining herself, so she was reassured it was never her fault and didn't even expect forgiveness or be welcomed back. But the two worked together to be back at the same page and be friends again. That is what is needed in these situations, not just swoop it under the carpet like nothing happened. I'm so glad your wife and her friend could patch it up. Last story. Am I the a-hole for ending a family relationship after accusations of theft? Hello. Recently, I, 31 female, have decided to end my relationship with my stepsister's mother, 63 female, as she accused me of stealing my disabled stepsister's 29 female toys. For context, I have known Yoli for roughly 20 years, and for the past 4 or so, I have worked as an in-home caregiver to assist Yoli as she works and cares for a disabled adult. 3 weeks ago, I received a text message that my sister was missing some toys. I agreed to look for the said toys at my house, as I have small children and things happen. Yoli then stated it was an entire box of toys, which I immediately notified her I do not have, because I don't. When I showed up on my next working day, I discovered every room in the house was locked. I generally have access so that I can dress, bathe, and provide other care to my sister. Yoli stated she locked them because the rooms were messy. This felt off, and I decided to begin looking for a new job. I felt if she was uncomfortable having me around, it would be best to leave. Apparently, this was the wrong choice, and since I notified Yoli of my job change, she has run to every family member stating I stole the toys, clothes, food, etc. The stories of my theft are now astronomical and all complete fiction. As I was technically employed and had a company to report to, I have been unable to react or defend myself in any way. At this time, I have notified my stepfather, stepsister's bio dad, that I can no longer care for my sister. He understands, but the rest of the family has expressed that I should just take the harassment for the benefit of my disabled sister. Am I the a-hole? Accused of theft. Next thing you know, they'll think you're running a toy smuggling ring. Call the authorities. Thank you for making me laugh. I have been an emotional wreck since this started, as I truly love my sister and do not wish her to experience poor care. Not the a-hole. I love when people tell you to take abuse because they know they will have to help out more if you don't. Find the one line that you can repeat over and over until they get tired of talking. Something like, it's not fair to Yoli to be with someone her mom doesn't trust. Thank you. I will definitely use a line like this. My immediate thought is early dementia. My wife's uncle got really paranoid about people in the family moving, hiding, and stealing his things. I've been in a similar situation where my dad's new wife accused me of stealing random stuff from their house. You did well by leaving the house immediately and finding a job elsewhere. Please realize that her accusations will probably get worse and expand to include your children and spouse. Stay physically distant from her and her kids. Don't visit them, nor allow them to visit your home. Don't ride in her car or let her in yours. If she is willing to lie about you stealing, she could easily leave an item in your car or house to prove her lies. Keep track of her accusations and your interactions with her and her kids. Include dates, times, details, and any other people present. It will help you keep the details of this situation straight when you have to explain it to a lawyer or officer. She is either mentally ill or set on getting you into legal trouble. Protect yourself and your family by staying away from her and her family. I'm sorry this has happened to you. I hadn't even thought of all this. Thank you for the heads up.